Hey guys, Quicksilver here. I'm just working on a small script that I think is important for supporting better co-op gameplay in the future. At the moment, one problem I have with mission making is that enemy helicopters are very bad. Enemy transport helicopters, just in their approach trajectory. I'll show you what I mean here. I have a AI helicopter. And the approach I have an LZ over here, and we're just going to give them a move order to land here. And the problem I have is that when they approach the LZ, they flare way up in the air and slow down dramatically, to the point where they're almost static above the LZ. And this just sets them up as targets, and makes it so I basically cannot use them as, I just can't use them as like ways for enemy to get to a combat zone. I instead just have to spawn enemy on foot. Because of how slow they go right here. Like, he's almost stationary, pilot's getting shot out, anyone in the back's dead, RPG's coming in, you know, he's been hit 7 times with RPGs. If I want him to hit the ground, I have to buff the health dramatically. I can't use them if there's armored vehicles anywhere nearby, just because of how slow they go. So we need something that's a bit more dynamic with a faster, lower approach and a faster landing sequence at the end. So what I have here is a little test scenario. I have a helicopter here. Now it's got like, there's no AI in it, so this is just all a system that I've created. For better helicopter landings. We'll see what happens here. This is basically what I want. So I have a function here which basically plots an approach, and then I have another function here which executes the approach. So we'll see what happens. Just execute both. So the helicopter goes. You can see how low he's staying. You'll have to. I haven't done any tree height calculations, but you can see the difference with how fast it's approaching. So this is more of what I want. Like, I want something that gets down fast enough, doesn't even have to touch down, just drops its infantry on the ground and then turns around and goes back to base. And it's a bit janky at the moment. Like, this is very much in the prototype phase. There's a lot of like smoothing out that I have to do, but the building blocks are here with respect to what I want. Like, I want a helicopter which can just get from like the takeoff point, and then it can approach the LZ in a very fast and low way. Which I think will be much more survivable. For you can see it. You can see him approaching here. He's not mucking around. He's not flaring at the end too much. He is slowing down because we have to put infantry on the ground, of course. And then he's turning around and he's getting out of there. I have to do some like control of the pitch and the bank of the aircraft to make it look more organic. But this is basically what I have in mind. I'm just trying to create a way that we can reinforce enemy positions more naturally. Like, we have like, if I put some guys in the back, like I'll put, you know, a squad in the heli, and then we'll just control them. Actually, I want to see if they do any pitch, like control of pitch bank here. That would make it better quite easily. Yeah, we have our squad approaching. They're just getting on the ground as fast as possible. Heli comes in, heli comes in, heli comes in. Get the squad out. And off it goes back to its starting point. This is going to be the basis of much more organic gameplay, I think, for combined arms. Like, I'll be able to use this in combat because it'll be much harder for players to hit. And what people do now for stuff like this, they can do Like a lot of mission makers do stuff like this where they, in the editor, they manually fly themselves and record their flight into an LZ. And then you can use like, it's called unit capture and unit play. You can play that back at any time just by executing a script. But it's not very dynamic. Like you'd see the same approach and then you'd have to, say you have 50 AOs. And for each AO, maybe you have like 10 different helicopter inserts. Well, that's 500 different flights you have to plot in the editor, and they're still going to be static. Like if you're doing an AO, you're going to see the same 10 approaches each time. So just to prove how dynamic this is, so we've done it from here to the LZ. Now we're going to just delete this squad. We're going to change its starting position. So maybe we'll start it like over here. We'll start over here this time. Different distance, everything. So he's going to orient himself to the pad, and he's just going to fly there. So this uses only the... Instead of having like a unit capture, unit play system, I have it so it takes like the helipad, or like the... It doesn't necessarily have to be a helipad. Like it's not about the helipad. But this is like an endpoint and then a start point, and then it calculates the flight path. I have to do some calculations for like trees. Like it knows the average tree height, but say there's like a tree like this that sticks up above the average tree height. I have to do some flight path calculations to ensure he's not hitting trees or poles or towers or anything like that. So we'll do a different start point. We'll do maybe, there's a good one. Maybe short one, maybe here. This one is just hopping over the hill. He might hit these trees actually, we'll see. So he's just hopping over the hill, coming in, and then landing, and then going back. So this is the prototype of a system that I'm going to be using in the future. Still got a lot of work to do to make it look better. But in my opinion, it's a much better framework than the vanilla AI landings, which are just too vulnerable and not really like combat landings. So these are combat landings. Like I don't know how to say it, but I think I'm excited about the stuff I'll be able to do with missions with this. We'll try another one, say up on a hill up here. This is a much more awkward approach. Like a very unconventional approach, so we'll see how he does. Yep, he just goes down, approaches the LZ. And comes in for a landing. I wonder if I can do like, I should be able to do like starting in midair as well. Because that's what, like I'm probably not going to be spawning these helicopters on the ground, I'll be like spawning them like, you know, out to the side out here and having them approach. You get the idea with this. I just have to work out how to make it pitch and bank and roll. Maybe not roll, maybe just pitch and bank correctly. Yeah, he's back where he started. We'll try a mid-air one. I'll have to be quick with this though. I'll bring it up and then see what he does. Yeah, so this is, you can see how dynamic this sort of landing system is. It's going quite fast actually. There's definitely some like velocity stuff, some more velocity work that I have to do. But I think this will be an interesting system. It's gonna take off again as well. Okay. I think this will be a good system for co-op, but it's gonna take some work before it's fully ready. Anyway, guys, I just thought it'd be an interesting post to do, a little video to make about what I'm working on. This is also like a side project, like. This isn't like a project that I'm giving most of my time to, but it's one that nevertheless I think is important going forward. Anyway, thanks guys.